We often track aging through the physical changes we can see, but beneath the surface, there is a hidden mechanism quietly accelerating the deterioration of sleep, energy, heart health, and memory. Cultural myths suggest that life after 50 is a golden era of automatic relaxation, fixed finances. Experiencing these challenges is a normal part of the human experience. The defining factor for long-term health is not the existence of the difficulties, but exactly how the body processes them internally. Unmanaged stress operates as a silent drain on the body's resources. Limbing to mitigate its effects is a strict biological necessity for preserving independence and quality of life. Consider Susan. At 71 years old, she lived in a state of constant exhaustion. There was no single acute crisis in her life, yet she felt continually overwhelmed. Even when her surroundings were quiet, her mind rarely slowed down. She carried a persistent physical tension in her muscles throughout the day. Over time, her sleep quality broke down, leaving her with a fraction of the energy she once had for the activity she enjoyed. Susan made a very common calculation. She assumed her brain fog and daily fatigue were simply the inevitable results of aging. But the fatigue was not a requirement of getting older. Her body was actually locked in a hidden, biologically destructive state that accelerates physical decline. In short, isolated bursts, stress is beneficial. It motivates us to respond to immediate challenges. The damage occurs when the stress becomes chronic, continuously triggering the body's survival responses without a recovery period. This animation illustrates the specific hormonal mechanism triggered by constant worry. The brain sends rapid signals to the adrenal glands, triggering a continuous flood of cortisol and adrenaline into the bloodstream. When these hormones hit the cardiovascular system, they demand immediate action. Heart rate accelerates and blood pressure spikes, placing heavy, continuous demands on the heart muscle and artery walls. As this activation is prolonged over weeks and months, the excess hormones bottleneck. This structural strain disrupts concentration, interferes with restorative sleep, and weakens the immune system's ability to respond to illness. The body is not failing. It is performing exactly as evolution designed it to, prioritizing short-term survival over long-term maintenance. Chronic worry forces the body to run this exhausting emergency program indefinitely. In its attempt to protect you from perceived threats, the system inadvertently damages the very cardiovascular and neurological networks keeping you alive. Susan's routine began to shift when a friend invited her to join a local working group. She was hesitant at first, but decided to try it. The group provided a complex intervention. She found conversation, laughter, and a shift in perspective that began to untangle the physical and mental tension she had been carrying. Walking serves a specific mechanical purpose. The physical movement consumes the excess cortisol and adrenaline circulating in the bloodstream, safely processing the chemicals her body had mobilized for a crisis. Breaking the biological loop of chronic stress rarely starts with passive rest. It requires active physical movement and social engagement to process trapped hormones and signal to the brain that the emergency is over. This diagram shows how we can enact a manual override on the nervous system. By utilizing slow, controlled breathing, we force the chaotic physiological response to reset into a smooth, rolling rhythm. That reset must be supported by a structured sleep schedule and consistent social connection. Talking with family and joining community groups prevents the prolonged isolation that often amplifies internal anxiety. Daily maintenance requires actively seeking out natural sunlight outdoors and deliberately scheduling moments of calm, whether through reading, listening to music, or practicing gratitude. These habits are backed by biological science. They serve as mechanical tools that actively down-regulate the body's stress response, pulling the nervous system out of its survival state. As Susan committed to her new routine, her biology stabilized. Her sleep became restorative again. Her mood lifted, and she regained the energy to participate fully in her own life. As this graphic illustrates, the goal isn't what we often assume. Susan's financial concerns and family worries did not vanish. The challenges remained exactly as they were. The shift occurred in her internal capacity. Her newly built resilience allowed her to evaluate and process her ongoing problems without triggering an exhausting physiological crisis. Managing stress is not the impossible task of avoiding all of life's difficulties. It is the practical science of building healthy responses, stripping those difficulties of their power to dictate your health and happiness. Healthy aging demands a dual commitment. We have to care for the mind with the same precision and consistency that we use to care for the body. Every daily walk, every deep breath, and every conversation is a direct physiological investment in your own future independence. By taking deliberate control of your biological responses, you dictate your quality of life, effectively navigating whatever challenges arise. Managing worry is only the start. In our next session, we'll analyze another factor that accelerates physical decline: the severe health risks of social isolation.
Remember, life after 50 isn't about slowing down. It's about living stronger, healthier, and happier. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. This is Longevity After 50, adding life to years, one step at a time.